Sit comfortably and allow your body to relax. Your mind is quiet and still.
Dadi Janki is the best kept secret in the world.
Who is Dadi? One of the spiritual giants, that have come to the full expression of what a human being can be.
She's just like that.
She's smart. She is a little bit irreverent. She is the one who will tell you what's true about you.
And you have to rise to the vision that she has for you, and that's a challenge.
And she started talking to me about conscience and how our conscience has become clouded with so many influences. And I said, well, how does one clean the conscience? And she said, through meditation. And I thought, I have to learn meditation.
तो हमने कोई कुछ किया नहीं है, पर उसकी उम्मीदें निमित्त हमारे थ्रू पूरी कर रहा है.
And so I always feel as if I am not doing anything, but it's the hopes of the Supreme, the feelings of the Supreme that are being translated through me, that are working through me and benefiting others.
ये कर रहा है.
It's my heart, it's my mind, and it's the eyes that are enabling things to be done.
शांति से कर रहा है.
And that we have to use the power of peace in everything we do.
The Brahma Kumaris had started in Karachi in 1937, and Dadi Janki joined them just around a year and a half later, and she was at that point 21 years old. The whole community of the Brahma Kumaris, around 300 of them, were engaged in deep, intense meditation through until 1950, when they came to India, to Mount Abu. And so, because of her long years with Brahma Baba and also her own quality of lifestyle, they gave her the term Dadi, which means elder sister. It's a term of love and respect. And in 1974, she came abroad. Her first stop was London. And from London, she started to serve the whole world, basically.
बदल जाए दुनिया न बदलेंगे हम तुम्हारी कसम.
And Dadi Janki, at the age of 92, then took on the mantle of leadership of the whole organization. And so she started a new job, age 92 at that time. And age 95 today, she still travels over the world. Age is not a factor. The spirit is eternal and very strong.
Where do I get this strength from?
शॉर्ट में बताती हूँ. हम अपने संकल्प समय को सफल किया, वेस्ट नहीं किया, इसलिए आई है.
In short, I will tell you that it's because I haven't wasted my thoughts and my energy. That's why I have a lot of strength today.
पॉजिटिव प्योर अपने अंदर शांति की शक्ति बढ़ता है.
Pure and positive thoughts help me to accumulate strength
हिंदी में बहुत
inside.
अच्छा शब्द है और इस संकल्प से खुद को भी ताकत मिलती है, औरों को ताकत मिलती है.
And through these good wishes, the self receives strength and others also receive strength from me.
I'm organizing every year leadership journeys with my top business leaders. And we went to visit Mount Abu. So we found an organization that had sold nothing, but seemed to have enough money, has no roles and goals, no manuals, no variable pay, no bonus schemes, no shares, and was very well organized. And there you learned about a leader like Dadi Janki, who was the head of a large organization, that there's another way of leading organizations, not necessarily by structure and processes, but more by the power of who she is. So not by the power of position, but by the power of her being. If you take business leaders to Dadi and say, look at her, this young, old in age, young in mind woman is an incredible leader of a very large organization of volunteers. And if we can get to her level of leadership, then we also have an organization of volunteers, although we still pay them even.
Well, it is a paradox because the Brahma Kumaris really are the only women's-led spiritual organisation in the world, and Dadi Janki as their leader is a woman, which is very unusual. The vision of the founder of the Brahma Kumaris, of Brahma Baba, was that there was a time when women needed to go into a leadership role. And I've also heard stories many times from India in the early days when the women, the sisters, the early BKs would go into a situation and they would automatically receive much more friendship and peace back from people because they were women.
The way I look upon it, that the Brahma Kumaris found out a system, a spiritual system, that is very easily attainable for a lot of people. Because being spiritual and being very well developed spiritually is nice, you know, but in the end of the day, we are in the world. Here is where it has to happen, and you have to be, that's at least my opinion, you have to be okay with yourself here.
All the work that happens around here, whether it's the cooking or the cleaning or the washing or the office or the garden or reception, everything is done by the people who live and work here, who are volunteers, who are meditators, and everything they do actually is an expression of their love. And that's why they don't charge for what they offer.
I like to feel positive about the future of the world, but then I turn on the news and I just see one horrible story after another.
महात्मा ऐसा पुरुषार्थ करके इतनी अपने अंदर ऐसी स्थिति बनाए वो लोगों को स्थिति बनाने में मदद करे.
What do I feel is important is that I, the soul, make the effort to create an internal state that is so stable that enables others to become stable.
Whatever is happening inside is what creates the situation outside. Sometimes when it's a situation of problems and difficulties, we don't want to believe it. We'd like to think that the problems are out there and I'm quite separate, but not true. Whatever's going on inside of me has made the situation happen in the way it has. And so to try and put things right, I have to sort things out inside first. Then I can deal with the situation that's outside.
पहले understanding से realize करे.
And so first of all, I need to have this understanding of introversion, extroversion, and realize where I need to go inside.
महात्मा गांधी ने कहा था, talk no evil, hear no evil, see no evil.
Mahatma Gandhi had started this phrase, talk no evil, hear no evil, and speak no
भगवान ने
evil.
सिखाया, think no evil.
And God has taught us, think no evil.
Think no evil.
Look, if you want to change your character, if you want to serve the world in this way, then every thought, you have to look at every thought. What's the thought you're holding in your mind that is generating the actions that you're taking? Now that is a big challenge.
जैसे मैंने सफलता पाई.
And when the quality of our thoughts become pure and peaceful, then there's a lot of freedom inside, a lot of lightness inside, that I've become free from what is negative and unnecessary, and then the face begins to bloom.
I'll tell you the story of what happened in the year 2000. For the first time, the United Nations brought together religious and spiritual leaders to the United Nations for the Millennium Peace Summit. Dadi Janki was representing the Brahma Kumaris, and it was a very beautiful gathering, very powerful. And there was one particular session where we met with the Under-Secretary Generals and Assistant Secretary Generals of the different departments of the UN. Each one of them was talking about their own particular section: the environment, children at risk, disarmament, finance, international labor, and each one of them had the same story to tell. And their story was that when the UN had started, they had less money, less technical information, less technology in terms of equipment, less human resources, less of everything. But even after all these years of putting in all of this energy on all these different levels, the situation now was worse than it had been at the start of the UN. And they said that we were looking at the subject and thinking, well, what's happened? What can we do about it? And they said, we realized that it's not all of these resources that can change the situation, but the only way the situation can change if human hearts and human conscience goes through a change. And this is why we've called all of you together. Sometimes people say today that, people have hot heads and cold hearts, but you have to switch it around. It has to be warm hearts and cool heads that are looking at the situation. So only when there's a change within human individuals can we bring about change within the world.
We may have come from many different countries and cultures. Within our hearts, I think we hold the same vision of a better world, of greater security, peace, justice, understanding and respect for all people. Once we have seen in the eye of our mind that such a world can and should exist, it is a responsibility to help make it happen. But it is what is in our hearts that builds a lovely home.
कराची कभी बनेगा मेरा सपना
बदल जाए दुनिया न बदलेंगे हम तुम्हारी कसम बदल जाए दुनिया न बदलेंगे हम तुम्हारी कसम तुम्हारे है जब तक के दम में है दम तुम्हारी कसम.
When we use the word organization, we think it should operate like a company does. Systems and policies. These words don't apply to us because actually we're a family. And the word policy and systems don't apply in a family. In a family, there's give and take. You might argue, you have good times, there are hard times.
Want to detach.
These 5 fingers are detached.
Detach. Loving.
And when they come together, they're loving. Internally, there's a connection of love, and that love is imperishable. It can't be destroyed, and it can't be disconnected. And within that love is merged peace and happiness.
Family feeling.
And because of peace, love, and happiness, there's a family feeling that is generated. This is how the world needs to be created. And so what are we doing now? We are creating this world of happiness. It is a family of these pure and happy relationships. On what basis? It's because each one takes directly from the Supreme.
On who I am, who I really am.
When I began this study and started hearing ideas that, like, you are a soul, you're a child of God, the truth about you is that you are love and peace and joy, all of these things actually, they went in one ear and out of the other, in the sense that some memory stirred inside that there was a truth there, but the intellect couldn't really handle these ideas because it was so matter-oriented.
अपन को अकेली देह से भी अलग आत्मा हूँ
I have to consider
तो
myself
उनसे वो संबंध की
first
शक्ति मिलती है
to be alone, a soul alone in this body. And when I raise myself into the consciousness of being that soul, then I'm able to draw that supreme power from the supreme.
If a soul starts thinking about spirituality by understanding spiritual knowledge, their life can be transformed. And that's what her mission in life is, to transform souls away from materialism to spirituality, to bring them closer to God.
We have to live in harmony.
ईश्वरी प्रेम में मिलाना है
We have to inspire everyone and connect everyone with God's love. This is the work that we need to do in the world today.
So Dadi, of course, always talks about her connection with God all the time. And I have great difficulties with that. And I found a way around it. So whenever she speaks about God, I write God with 2 O's. And I ultimately believe that is what she really means. When she says connect to God, what you really do mentally and emotionally, you connect to good. And I think when she says first connect to God, I say first connect to good, and then we're on the same page again.
अंदर भगवान मेरा साथी है
But I've always maintained the awareness that God is my companion. Yes, there is the first awareness that God is my mother and my father and that I belong to God as a child.
जिसकी कंपनी में रहते हैं ना उन जैसा बनना नेचुरल हो जाता है.
And then secondly, in whoever's company I remain, it becomes easy to become like them.
Dadi Janki is in love with God.
कोई कहते तुम सिनेमा देखा है क्या देखूं बनाई हुई स्टोरी है ना.
Sometimes people say to me, have you watched the movies at the cinema? And I said,
practical life के अंदर.
Why should I watch something that's made up? But this is a practical life story.
लॉ की कहानी शेयर कर दें तो लॉ में खो जाते हैं मैं क्या करूं.
If I was to begin sharing this love story with you, then I would become lost in love.
Thank you for